Today, we're going to build a ghillie hood. Alright, so what do I mean ghillie hood? This is what I got on. Guys, most of the time you don't need a full ghillie suit. It's just going to get in the way. They're too hot, they're too heavy. And really, unless you have like schoolhouse purposes or, you know, actual full military use as a sniper, a ghillie suit's just going to be too much. Even in the military as a sniper and in the recon platoon, most of the time, yeah, we had a ghillie suits. We definitely built some. But we really didn't use ghillie suits. This is what we used 99% of the time. What I like about this for hunting or for any kind of military use is it gives you the basic silhouette breakup. It leaves this whole front side open, so that way, you know, whether you're using this for hunting and you've got some kind of bino pack on the front, it leaves it open for that. If you have a plate carrier, it leaves it front open, accessible. You can still get to all this while still giving you the main basics of your silhouette coverage. So let's go into putting this thing together and how to do that. All right, you're gonna see, and I'll go ahead, I'll give you a close-up, but I've already got a couple of things tied on here. Just thought of doing this last minute. But I've got a little bit of jute tied in. Anytime that I'm talking or referring to jute, this is what I'm talking about. And I'll show you and kind of talk about where you can get this as well. Another thing that we're going to be doing is using stripped 550 tie downs. And I'll show you what I mean by stripped as well. But those two things is pretty much all we're going to be putting on this. All right, let's get into it. All right, so looking at this thing as a whole, what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this jute over this whole, pretty much this whole thing. And the biggest thing is we're going to space out the colors, so that way you don't have anything too much in one spot and not enough in another. I mean, guys, it's basic camo. You don't want to go too crazy with the jute, and whenever we get this one worked on, you'll kind of see what I mean, because the reason why is really the golden rule for this is having a 70-30 ratio, which means you want 70% natural vegetation and 30% artificial vegetation or your jute. How we get the natural vegetation ratio is through the strip 550. Now the strip 550, if I can find my 550 cord. But what I mean by strip 550, you're going to take pieces 8 to 10 inches long, somewhere around there. That may be a little long. It's not going to hurt. But what you're going to do is you're going to cut these sections off. And what I mean by stripped, I don't know if you can see it, but this inner white core that's on the inside, go ahead and set this down. You're going to go ahead and pull this out. What that's going to do is whenever you tie on your natural veg, it's going to allow you to get a tighter cinch. You don't have so much cushion in there. It's really going to let you snug up your vegetation when you go to tie it on. And the kind of knot that we're going to use for this, I'll use one right here. I think it's I don't know the names of knots. I just know how to tie them. But you're basically, I think it's a half hitch, but you're going to stick a loop up. You're going to reach through the loop, get your 550, and pull it down. Like I said, those are going to be used for the natural veg tie downs. Now on the jute, you're going to do the same exact thing. And I've got, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got all kinds of colors of jute. Now you can do that and buy all different colors of jute, just to make it a little simpler. Or, you know, if you don't want to go through and buy a bunch of different jute, what you can do is get a lighter color, like something like this olive green. Get a lighter color like that. And then what you can do is you can turn around and dye this a darker color. If you don't want to buy jute, something else you can use is burlap. You can use burlap, you can use jute twine, just anything that's going to give you this shaggy appearance. I just like jute for I build, you know, a good bit of ghillies and stuff like that. And a lot of this stuff is left over from what I had in the military, some that I bought. Now the jute you're going to tie on the same exact way, but one thing I like to do on it is instead of folding it over directly in half like this, I try to space one side down a little bit. And what that's going to do, instead of just giving you this chopped same length bowl cut look, it's going to space it out a little bit. I'm no hairdresser, obviously, but this flows together better and breaks up a silhouette better. So you're going to find that non-halfway point, just like that, and you're going to do the same thing that we did with the strip 550 cord. You're going to run it up, make sure you get all these strands and pull it out. Bam, same thing. Kind of comb it out a little bit. That's it. You're going to do this about 30,000 more times. Good morning. So we stayed up a little bit last night after the sun went down and worked on this thing a little bit. Not very much, but I started running out of light to work on this, and especially to film. I was also running low on battery. So this is the actual hood part, if you can see. This morning we actually had to set up camp real quick because it come a storm. So I figured this would be a good time to keep working on the Ghillie hood or the Cobra hood, whatever you want to call it. If there's one thing that you'll notice, this stuff still kind of looks bright. You know, it looks new. Looks kind of out of the ordinary as far as nature goes. I mean, laid against the ground, it stands out, obviously. Whereas then, I have a hood. I actually cut this off of something that I had sewed to a boonie cap. Whereas in this, blends in much better. Now I am going to show you whenever we get all the jute, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. Can't even hardly see it in the camera anymore. Much better. We're going to show you how to do that. As of right now, we're just going to, if I can find the sleeve that still needs some work, we're going to keep working on this thing. One thing I was thinking about too this morning is if you don't want to buy, if you don't want to spend the, I think it's, I mean, guys, this hood is only like 50, 60 bucks. But even if you don't want to spend that, as long as you're using it in cold weather environments, use a hoodie. You can take a hoodie and sew on a fishing net. Whenever I say fishing net, I'm talking one that you'd get out of like a Hobby Lobby or some kind of craft store. This decor fishing net. And I'll actually put the link in the below where I got this specific one. You can take this and actually sew it to a hoodie and then tie your jute onto this net. That's how a real ghillie's made. You take a military uniform top and a bottom and you sew that net to the back of it, and then you just tie your jute to that net. That's really the only difference. There again, I like these hoods because they're lighter, they're more packable, they're not near as hot. Because a ghillie suit gets hot. I'm here to tell you. There's certain areas that I focused on going heavier. One being the top of the head. Number two being right in here, the transition from the neck to the shoulders. Like I said, this is to break up your silhouette. The crown of the head is a big one, and especially this right here. So that's your silhouette. That's the silhouette that's going to give you away. Now, you don't want to add so much that you start looking like a bush. The goal is not to look like a bush. Contrary to popular belief on ghillie suits, the goal is to look like nothing. You just want to blend in. You don't want to be seen. You don't want, because the problem is whenever you look like a bush, if 1 second you see a bush, and then as you're stalking, the bush has moved, that's going to be able to be picked up. Big bag of ghillie. This is what's nice and what's a lot better than those big prefab, pre-packaged, pre-made ghillie suits. They just have jute all over it. You know, that would be better suited for like a Creature of the Swamp Lagoon Halloween costume or something. There's still another pretty important process, the most important in my opinion. And like I said, it's what's going to be taking it from this nice shiny new to something that's broke in and a little more nature looking. But pretty happy with how this thing's turned out. Whoa. Pretty happy. Cobra head. Alright guys, that's it. As soon as it stops raining, we'll get out of bed and go do a ghillie wash. Alright, so we've got everything. We've got all the jute and 550 tied on. Like I said, there's only one step left to really break this in and get it to like the hood that I showed you a minute ago. And that's what's called a ghillie wash. Pretty much think of a ghillie wash as a anti-wash wash. We're just gonna come out here. We're literally gonna mix some mud. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and you're really just trying to soak these fibers. And this don't have to be super wet. But you're just going to start what it's going to do is you can see it's just going to start slowly breaking these fibers in, really getting them stained up and looking more natural. And guys, this isn't something that you do just once and then you're done. It's something that you're gonna do and do and do and continue to do more and more. And the more that you break this down and get dirt in it and get it stained up and get these fibers stretched and scratched and broke in, the more it's going to start to blend in and look closer to your surroundings and what you've got around you. Just keep working on that, keep mixing mud, keep doing the ghillie wash. It'll get better and better over time. That, guys, that's how you do a Cobra hood. So just to show you guys exactly how important that ghillie wash is and what a difference it makes. This is just the first time. This is the first ghillie wash. Not the second, not the third. This is the first time. And the more you do this, you just wash it in mud, scratch it up, break those fibers apart, and rinse it back out. And wash it in some clean water. And the more you do that, the better it's going to get.